Have you ever pondered over Canada's history of harboring extremists? A question that might come as a surprise to many, but the truth is, Canada has a less than pristine past when it comes to giving refuge to extremist groups. This history dates back to the end of World War II and involves characters as diverse as Nazi soldiers, Islamic terrorists, and Khalistani radicals. These aren't mere allegations or conspiracy theories. There are documented instances that cast a shadow on the otherwise peaceful image of Canada. Not too long ago, Canada faced a storm of controversy for honoring a Nazi soldier. This sparked a global backlash, raising questions about the country's stance on extremism. While it's important to remember that these are not reflections of the Canadian population as a whole, they are nonetheless significant chapters of the nation's history. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into Canada's history of harboring extremists starting from World War II. Let's rewind back to the years following World War II. In the aftermath of the global conflict, the world was left scarred and nations were scrambling to rebuild. During this tumultuous period, Canada emerged as an unexpected player in the global chessboard of political asylum. Its role? Providing official cover for the Ukrainian Waffen-SS Galicia Division, a Nazi battalion. Yes, you heard it right. Nazi soldiers were finding a new home under the maple leaf. Despite the horrifying atrocities these men were accused of, Canada allowed them to reside within its borders. This decision wasn't made lightly nor without controversy. The Jewish community, still reeling from the horrors of the Holocaust, vehemently objected. They pleaded with the Canadian government, urging them to reconsider. But their pleas fell on deaf ears. The doors of the Great White North remained open to these former Nazi soldiers. This was more than a mere blip in Canada's history. It marked the beginning of a pattern that would continue for decades. A pattern where those with extremist views and violent pasts found asylum within Canada's borders. As we move forward in time, the types of extremists finding shelter in Canada diversify. Fast forward to the turn of the century, a new wave of extremism finds its way to the shores of Canada. Among them is an Algerian man named Ahmed Ressam. He arrives in Canada with a dark intent, a plan to unleash terror on a grand scale. His target? The bustling Los Angeles International Airport. Ressam's presence marks a disturbing trend. Canada, known for its tranquility and welcoming nature, is now a refuge for Islamic extremists. This is not an isolated incident, rather it's an echo of an alarming pattern. A pattern of individuals, fueled by extremist ideologies, finding shelter in the very heart of North America, using the freedoms of a democratic society to plot violence and terror. These extremists, like Ressam, are not just lone wolves. They are part of a larger network, a global web of terror that stretches from the Middle East to North America. And sadly, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Islamic extremism was not the only type of radicalism that found a home in Canada. Now we journey to the present day. Our attention turns to the Khalistani Radicals, a group seeking a separate homeland who have found solace in Canada's welcoming embrace. In recent years, Canada has evolved into a sanctuary for these extremists, a development that has stirred international controversy. The Khalistani movement, initially birthed in the 1980s in the Indian state of Punjab, seeks to establish an independent Sikh state named Khalistan. In the pursuit of this cause, some factions have resorted to violence and terrorism. Canada, with its significant Sikh diaspora, has inadvertently become a refuge for these radicals. This situation has not gone unnoticed. In fact, it sparked a diplomatic spat with India, which has long been battling Khalistani terrorism. The flashpoint came with Canada's honoring of a slain Khalistani terrorist, a move that deeply strained relations between the two nations. India, with its painful memories of the Khalistan insurgency, was understandably outraged. This incident underscored the tensions inherent in Canada's liberal approach to migrants and refugees, which, while humanitarian in its intent, has also opened the door to elements with extremist agendas. Yet, this is not an isolated instance. It is part of a pattern that has seen Canada provide safe haven to various extremist groups since the end of World War II. From Nazi soldiers to Islamic terrorists and now Khalistani radicals, the nation's history is marked by these controversial choices. Let's summarize the key points in Canada's history of harboring extremists. From World War II to the present day, Canada's history is marked with instances of harboring extremists. Beginning with the post-war era, Nazi soldiers found sanctuary in this unsuspecting nation. As time moved on, Islamic terrorists, including the likes of Algerian extremist Ahmed Ressam, also sought refuge here. More recently, Khalistani radicals have called Canada home, causing diplomatic disputes and raising questions. A pattern emerges, a controversial legacy of Canada providing safe haven to various extremist groups. It leaves us to ponder, what does the future hold for Canada's controversial legacy of harboring extremists?